help you avoid some of our mistakes that we made when we were starting out. So I'll start off and then I'll pass it down. My name is Neil Cohen. I'm the author of the Exit Zero Zombie trilogy. I can count, you see only 2 books because the 3rd book is not out yet. My first book, Exit Zero, came out in June of 2016. The 2nd book, Nuke Jersey, came out in June 2017. And the final of the trilogy, Zombie Democracy, will come out in June 2018, so in about 3 months. So very excited, and obviously my genre is zombies. So why? Because chicks dig zombie authors. No. It's just because, yes, it's just it is a topic that I'm passionate about, that I've always been a fan. I loved it, but I felt I had a story to tell that was different than it had been told before. I wanted to tell my own origin story, I wanted to create my own characters, and I wanted to put them in the zombie apocalypse, and I wanted it to start in New Jersey. So, New Jersey out here, I thought I smelled something.
I'm from Jersey.
It's just blotting your So,
the zombie apocalypse would start.
Yeah, it's going to start anywhere. It's got to be
Pharmaceutical
Jersey.
companies are, so why not?
so how about ladies first? I'll let you all introduce yourselves.
I'm Kendra Sauer. I'm the author of the Communication Archives, Miss Hyde novellas, and initiative books. There's just 2 up here, but I have at least 21, 22 in circulation. I actually have my first high fantasy dragon novella coming out in a week, and then the 5th book of this comes out in June. So.
Hi. I'm Slade Grayson. Yes, really, that's my name. I have 3 novels out, 2 are horror novels, 1's a spy novel. I have 5 or 6 other novels in various stages of development. I'm local to Maryland, so really? When's it coming out? Yay, Maryland. I'm also from Jersey though. So, learn something new every day. Thanks.
James Crawford, lifelong resident of the DMV area, I'm sorry. Author of Manly Cheese from Burning Willow Press. Also have a zombie trilogy I don't talk about because I really don't like my publisher, and I've got stories. And I also have a supernatural action trilogy in consideration. Worked on a YA science fiction, which is quite a deviation from my norm. Yeah, that's about it, really.
All right, my name is Timothy Johnson. I'm the author of 2 sci-fi horror novels, Carrier and The Pillars of Dawn. I live in Rockville, so don't make it down here as much as I'd like, but I'll come down to the city, and yeah, I kind of fell into science fiction. I always considered myself more of a horror guy, and I just had this idea that sort of had to take place on a spaceship. So I was like, oh crap, now I have to figure out the engineering aspects of this spaceship that I'm actually going to write about, and there's a lot of research involved. And then I had another idea, and it was also a science fiction thing, so this just seems to be a theme for me, and now I consider myself as a science fiction author, and I also have various stories published in semi-professional and professional markets and magazines and whatnot. So.
I'm Nick DeWolf. Unlike Slade, that's not my real name. I am a twice picked up by publishing companies, twice dropped author. So I have 2 books. One is Frightfully Ever After, which was published by a publishing company and then they went out of business. It had nothing to do with my book, I promise. It's actually decent. So I republished this myself, and then immediately afterwards, this originally came out in 2015, and then I recently published Pulling Strings, which is self-published. This came out in December of 2017. I'm also a local resident, grew up in Tacoma Park, I've lived here my whole life. Never really considered myself a genre writer. I read almost every book about dragons and trolls when I was a kid and have never written anything like that because I read so many of them that every time I try, it's just like, oh, no, I'm just stealing this. Okay, that's stolen as well. This is, okay, I'm just basically taking every book I know and putting it together into a new book, and that's not allowed. So, I've decided to jump genres, and I try and come up with stories that bend genres and tropes and twist them into a new form and show people something that hopefully hasn't been seen before.
So you heard a lot, like self-publish versus publishers. Both have their pros and cons. Obviously, there's a lot of cons when you're with a publisher. And James would love to hear those stories. And if anyone wants to hear those stories, if you want to keep it,
Read your contracts.
yeah,
Yeah. Always.
yeah.
We'll have to negotiate like California.
And one thing, first of all, in the audience, how many people are actually looking to get published or would like to get published? One, two, okay, so we got a number. How many have been published?
Cool.
Okay,
Very
cool.
nice.
So, when I first wrote my first book, quick story, I submitted to the publishers. Everybody said, go pound sand. I self-published. Tracked it on Author Central, which is a way to track actual sales, went, promoted it myself, then actually pitched my sales numbers, not the book, to the publisher and said, look, I can sell books. And that's how I got picked up. But I was so excited, I was thinking, wow, this is everything I've ever wanted. Just give me those documents, I'm signing it, I'm initialing, I'm doing whatever, I don't need to read it, don't have time, too busy trying to write this book, and that was it. So, you live with your mistakes. But,
Buying coffee with a certain someone thanks to LinkedIn.
Yes, yes. I actually, when I first started this, I started going to small press expos and Comic Cons and talking to every publisher, every author I could meet. And then I found the publisher that I had been reading their books, zombie books. They were the #1 publisher of zombie books. I just figured they have to be my guy. I found him on LinkedIn, reached out to him, pestered him until he met me for coffee. Then he realized I wasn't some sort of freak that was trying to hit on him.
Are you sure about that?
Well, okay, I was. But
Let's be
then
honest here.
he wasn't my type, so actually, no, I wasn't his type. So anyway, no. But then, but he's the one that hooked me up. But no, it hasn't been bad. It's just that just don't, had I known a little bit more, not been so rushed in, I wasn't rushed, not been so eager to do it myself, I would have probably read some more. What about you guys?
Same. One of my publishers is the same publisher that James has, and same thing, I was so glad to get the contract that I just signed it, and then now I see that that's kind of a big mistake. I have two of my books are available on audio. My one publisher doesn't believe in doing audiobooks, so I'm kind of stuck because they own the rights, they own the audio rights. That's something I wish I had negotiated, especially since lately I'm making more money from the audiobooks than I am from the print sales. So why does the publisher not want to do audiobooks? I don't know. So things like that, audio rights, movie rights, things like that I wish I had negotiated and at least kept better control of.
Yeah, and it's probably a lot of it, it's more money out of their pocket. It's easy right now to self-publish. I'd like to hear you guys' stories on self-publishing. Self-publishing is so easy now.
I'm a huge fan of it. So I've self-published both of these. This was, so what happened to me was I was picked up by a pretty big publisher for a 3-book deal, and I was super excited. 2 of the books, one was done, one was in the process, and one was just a concept. And they said, we love that even more. We want all of them. And it was great. They sent me this amazing contract, and I was going to make $1 bazillion. Yay! So what ends up happening is, they edit my first book, and they send me some ideas for the cover, and then a week later I get an email that says, we're dropping you, we're cutting you completely, you can keep the edited copy, that's our gift to you. And I was like, oh, thanks, and they did a terrible job. So, got picked up by a second publisher, a really small company out in California. They loved the book, they did another edit, they did a good job, and they gave me a cover that looked like a 4-year-old had drawn it. And it was just, I was so unhappy, and they said, well, this is all we can do. But I got it out there, and it was on Amazon, and I wasn't making any money off of it. My first check after like a year and a half was for $8. And I ran the numbers, and that was right. It was just a really terrible experience. And then they ended up going under, and they gave me the rights to the book back. I self-published it, and I republished it with a new cover, which is what you see here, and within 48 hours I'd made $25, $30, $40, you know? Like, it was just exponential how much faster I made money off of it. And I'm not saying that I make a lot of money.
Hey, Nick,
Yeah.
can I borrow $20?
No. So, I love self-publishing, but there's caveats to it, there's tricks to it. The first thing is that if you go out and you look at self-published books, the first thing you're gonna find is, wow, there's a lot of typos in there. And so, for people who are looking to self-publish, I'm gonna say that it's not this thing where you can just throw whatever you want out there. You have to really take the time to think about what would it be like if I was going through a publisher? What would they do for me that I'm not thinking about what I'm doing for myself? And the first thing is, you have to find a copy editor. You have to find someone who's going to go through your book and look for every little grammatical and spelling mistake. Because it doesn't matter how good you are, they're going to be in there.
Yeah, just to drive that home, I actually am an editor for my living, and I mean, I make mistakes in my manuscripts.
Yeah, don't edit your own stuff.
Yeah, don't edit your own books. That's like rule number one. The second thing is, things like LinkedIn, Twitter are awesome because you can find amazing cover artists. There are so many other artists out there in the world right now that are looking for work and are interested in doing things. I found one person to do both of these and did it for a penny, basically, you know? Like, I got a really great deal because there are other artists who are looking to work. But again, this is time and energy you have to put in. So if you're gonna self-publish, there's great things that can come from it. You make a lot more money back. Amazon provides you with everything that you need, but Amazon also doesn't care if you turn in a manuscript that's literally upside down and backwards. They're gonna put it out there. They don't care if your cover is covered with mistakes and looks terrible. They're gonna put it out there. So it's up to you to show your artistic integrity.
Yeah, I mean, just to, I guess, bring it in the publisher aspect, I think we all kind of, you know, we all kind of know each other, and we run in the same circles, and we've had similar experiences with similar publishers, and I think Slade, I think you talked about reading the contract. There's even some aspects to reading the contract that aren't going to save you. For instance, if your publisher suddenly decides, hey, we're not going to print books anymore, we're just going to do e-books, and you sign the contract with the understanding